hip-hop is currently in complete disarray. T, the Southern monarch, and his wife, Tiny Harris, are at the heart of this storm. However, 50 Cent, the ultimate industry troll, is in charge. Imagine discovering that your greatest adversary gets access to a confidential, never-before-seen documentary about your life when you wake up. That is precisely what happened when 50 Cent claimed to have access to a secret film from China. However, this is not only a career retrospective or a home movie. 50 claims that this documentary is a veritable goldmine of knowledge, uncovering over 20 of today's biggest rappers. We're talking about luminaries, current chart toppers, and A-list celebrities who believed their private affairs were secure behind closed doors. According to reports, T.I. is completely shocked. This news is a devastating blow to a man who takes great pride in maintaining his family's reputation and his street credibility. Rumor has it that the movie includes everything from dubious backroom business transactions to embarrassing party scenes that could swiftly ruin people's reputations. On social media, 50 Cent has been persistent in making fun of the Harris family and teasing films, implying that this documentary features aspects of the snitch culture he has continuously denounced. For the Atlanta power couple, is this the end of an era? Or is 50 Cent and himself engaged in a high-stakes psychological battle? Fear has paralyzed the industry since eliminating those 20 names would have irreversible consequences. Today, we'll delve deeply into the source of the leak, 50 Cent's particular threats, and the reasons why every major Hollywood rapper is keeping a careful eye on this documentary. The unit is prepared to reveal everything, so fasten your seatbelts because the monarch is under attack. Let's examine the specifics of the leak that could permanently alter the course of hip-hop history. Hip-hop has traditionally been based on street credibility, reputation, and an unwritten code of silence. However, that basis is collapsing in a time when digital fingerprints are irrevocable. Curtis, 50 Cent Jackson is the driving force behind the current seismic earthquake. Currently, Atlanta's royalty, T, and his wife, Tamika Tiny Harris, are being targeted by the most vicious provocateur in the business. 50. What began as a mysterious string of posts on social media has quickly grown into a major industrial catastrophe. 50 Cent's purported interception of a sizable amount of films served as the catalyst for this controversy. Tiny Harris's life and her powerful connections in the music industry were the subject of a confidential, unreleased documentary. According to reports, Tiny Harris, a legend in her own way from her time with Xscape to her prosperous venture into reality TV, had been chronicling her journey for years. The purpose of this endeavor was to honor her family, her heritage, and the development of Atlanta rap culture. But behind the scenes of triumph and glamour, the cameras were capturing events that were never intended for public viewing. We're talking about open discussions, backroom transactions, and late-night get-togethers at the Harris estate where some of the company's top executives felt at ease enough to relax. Every significant player in the game shivered when 50 Cent claimed to have this hard drive of doom. Many were interested in how 50 Cent, T's longtime rival, acquired access to such private material when the story initially surfaced. There were rumors that this digital treasure trove had fallen into the wrong hands due to a security breach, a resentful former employee, or a production assistant with a vendetta. For many concerned, the what is considerably more frightening than the how. 50 Cent did more than simply assert that he owned the footage. He started making looks that implied he was prepared to annihilate the nation of the Southern ruler. The consequences were immediate. T, a man who exudes unshakable dignity, was placed in an exceptionally dangerous situation. Overnight, Atlanta's surroundings changed. Pervasive paranoia afflicted the city, the center of contemporary hip-hop. There was more than simply the invasion of privacy that horrified T. It was about the innumerable artists who had passed through his doors and their possible betrayal. In keeping with his persona as the ultimate enemy, 50 Cent referred to the leaked video as a snitch tape. In a society where being called a government agent or informant is a death sentence for a career, this branding was a cunning psychological ploy. 50 is not meant to be a critique of T's character. He is implying that the Harris residence's walls were wired to capture the most private information of the business. T.I.'s response was a combination of deliberate legal wrangling and obvious annoyance. Cease and desist orders, according to those close to the camp, were issued at urgent meetings with prominent legal firms. However, as the internet has shown, once the toothpaste is removed from the tube, it cannot be reminding everyone that he has made a career out of surviving beefs that would have buried anyone else. 50 Cent publicly ridiculed these legal threats and ignored them in classic Gunnet fashion. He's not merely seeking scenery. His goal is to completely ruin his reputation. However, the industry as a whole is tense due to the collateral damage. Tiny's circle is really large. By asserting that this video has more than 20 musicians, she links multiple rap eras and increases her power over decades. In essence, 50 Cent has targeted a whole generation of musicians. These are more than just background enhancements. These people think they were in a secure environment. There is more to the fallout than just a video leak. It has to do with the complete breakdown of trust. Who could secure their private recording if such a renowned company as T couldn't? Tiny Harris was strangely silent during the ongoing digital struggle, probably because she was coping with the fallout from such a significant breach. There must be tension in the Harris home. This endeavor, which was meant to be Tiny's greatest accomplishment, has targeted her spouse and their workplace. Another rung of the hip-hop hierarchy gets hot every time 50 Cent uploads a song. Executives at big record labels seem to be frantically attempting to determine whether their star talent is caught in the crossfire because the damage has gone beyond social media talk. This story's first section ends with a terrifying truth. 50 Cent is not in a hurry. He is aware that the dread of a leak frequently causes more harm than the leak itself, one frame at a time. He is documenting the industry. T's legacy is being destroyed by a man who has nothing to lose and everything to gain from the upheaval while standing in the middle of a storm he did not initiate. The shock is genuine. As the list of the revealed 20 hangs over society like a guillotine, the damage is growing. Hip-hop culture began to face a far harsher reality as the immediate shock of the leak subsided. 50 Cent and T were no longer the only parties engaged in this dispute. It had to do with the exposed 20. 50 Cent did more than simply toss a dart at a board when he dropped that particular number. He sowed the seeds of complete paranoia, which is now pervasive in the sector. We're discussing a list of names that claims to include some of the biggest performers on the West Coast, New York's lyrical titans, Atlanta's trailblazers, and more. There is more to the worry than what was stated. It has to do with the context of the sentence. Many of these musicians felt they were off the record and out of the legal public scrutiny when they were in the private haven of the Harris household. There is a tangible sense of industry panic. Major record labels like Roc Nation, Quality Control, and Atlantic have reportedly held high-level emergency meetings. According to reports, executives are eager to see whether their best talent was present when Tiny's documentary was being filmed from 2015 to 2021. The law enforcement officials are searching. However, 50 Cent's contempt for business rules is the root of the issue. He is abiding by the internet's laws, which state that a lawyer cannot even draft a cease and desist letter before a leaked video becomes viral and damages a business's name. What 50 Cent chooses to release next will now determine the entire public perception of these artists. The carefully constructed brand of being street, family-oriented, or socially sensitive. Why is the list so scary? Because Tiny Harris has been a mainstay in the field for more than 30 years. Her network of influence is extensive. You most likely attended one of T and Tiny's parties or sessions if you were a rapper traveling to Atlanta to record, perform, or simply network. The video purports to show these celebrities at their most vulnerable. According to rumors, the documentary includes unvarnished, unedited discussions on delicate subjects, unsolved internal conflicts, undisclosed financial problems, and extracurricular activities that run counter to the polished personas that many of these rappers present to their younger fan bases. A single 30-second video of a rapper saying the wrong thing or being in the wrong place may cost them millions of dollars in sponsorship deals in the era of cancel culture. The master of psychological deception, 50 Cent, has been stoking this flame by giving out blind items, which are descriptions of rappers without naming them. He has shown evidence of a strongman rapper who was caught on camera acting anything but tough and a Grammy-winning lyricist acting inappropriately. The industry, a number of well-known rappers have allegedly contacted 50 Cent via middlemen in an effort to reclaim their footage or make sure their identities are kept out of the public. However, 50 appears to prefer the turmoil to the possibility of a reward, which is consistent with his personality. T is battling on two fronts while the rappers are going crazy. On the one hand, he must cope with the public humiliation brought on by the leak. He must, however, control his students' suppressed rage. Imagine being a rapper who trusted T, only to discover that your private moments were being recorded for a documentary that your competitor now owns. There are other people that have been deceived than 50 Cent. the Harris family is the target of it. At this point, the word snitch tape becomes quite harmful. It implies that the Harris family unintentionally become informants on their own culture by allowing the cameras to record, and that the Atlanta rap scene's social structure, which is based on friendship and mutual defense, is collapsing. Tiny Harris is having a nightmare in the meantime. She is upset that her life's work, which was intended to showcase the beauty of her journey, has been turned into a weapon of mass destruction. According to those close to her, the 20 rappers are not the only ones affected. It has to do with the precedent this establishes. Every musician who has ever collaborated with a reality show or documentary crew will now be suspicious of their production teams if the King and Queen of the South are unable to protect their archive. There is a complete absence of knowledge due to the industrial phobia. The question of who is truly on that list persists as we dig deeper into this controversy. Some of the biggest stars in hip-hop are among the 20 individuals that 50 Cent has listed, names that are typically avoided by the industry. We're not just looking at a few destroyed careers if 50 releases the full list. Or even worse, the entire video. We are examining the complete dismantling of hip-hop's current power system. The countdown has started. Panic is at an all-time high, and the only person with the vault's key is 50 Cent. We are at the most agonizing part of this story. The ultimate betrayal as the corporation continues to be shaken by the shockwaves of the leaked 20 list. 50 Cent's criticism of T is no longer the only issue at hand. The Harris family is currently experiencing a serious internal crisis. T and Tiny's conflict appears to have reached a breaking point. According to reports from within their camp, the betrayal seems compounded to T. The security breach comes first. By using his wife's personal endeavor, which he most likely supported, 50 Cent is weakening his legacy. Social betrayal is the second. For many years, T has been a stand-up man and cultural advocate. He now finds himself in a situation where his house was utilized as a recording studio for his friend's possible demise. On social media, the story of betrayal has developed a life of its own. 50 Cent has been implying that the leak may not have been accidental. 50 Cent never passes up the chance to pull a practical joke. He has been sowing doubts by implying that someone involved in the production, perhaps even in Tiny's inner circle, voluntarily turned over the hard disks to settle an old dispute. This has been effective, whether it's real or just psychological warfare from the 1950s. Atlanta's rap culture is losing the trust that once kept it cohesive. Rappers who once referred to T as a brother are now wondering if they were ever really safe with him. The same individuals that assisted T in gaining the title of King of the South, which he has proudly held for nearly 2 decades, are now casting doubt on it. Let's examine the impact later. Though, the underlying workings of hip-hop are drastically altered by this discovery. All Access is coming to an end. Fans have always yearned for behind-the-scenes glimpses at their favorite performers through reality shows and documentaries. However, that age is probably over with the Tiny Harris release. In their own houses, artists are already imposing camera no-fly zones. The industry is about to completely forbid personal information. It's no longer just a meme to be afraid of getting caught in 4K. Your career will terminate as a result of this truth. You don't need a diss track to win a beef in 2026. As 50 Cent has demonstrated, all you need is the appropriate USB drive file. It is difficult to estimate the long-term harm to T and Tiny's brand. They were hip-hop's power couple, effectively bridging the gap between the streets and the mainstream media. However, this argument has made them appear weak. Vulnerability is frequently confused with weakness in the rap industry. If he can't defend his own wife's movie against his fiercest adversary, how can he defend the interests of the culture? His friends inquire. The 20 rappers who were exposed, many of them are probably T's business or legal associates, might never be able to forgive him for permitting this to occur. In the future, T might be cut off from the very industry he helped establish. What about 50 Cent? His image as the most dangerous man in entertainment is cemented by this behavior. He created fear. In addition to disclosing a video, he has demonstrated that his influence extends far beyond the charts. He has developed a unique strategy for prevailing in a conflict in the digital era by employing a documentary as a weapon. He is now more than simply a TV producer and rapper. He is the guardian of secrets. In the long run, this causes every well-known celebrity to view their own archives, vintage films, and irate staff members with a fresh feeling of dread. Will Tiny and T recover? Is still unresolved as we finish this investigation. They are survivors. According to history, although they have handled public emergencies and legal issues in the past, this feels different. This is an affront to their dignity. While T employs all legal means possible to hide the film, 50 Cent monitors the increase in views and waits for the ideal opportunity to reveal the next person on the list. The documentary is now the industry standard for maximum exposure rather than Tiny Harris's greatest accomplishment. The palace walls have never appeared thinner, but the monarch remains on his throne. The rest of us are left wondering who else was in that room and who will be holding the camera the next time. As the exposed 20 wait for their names to be called, 50 Cent is in control of the controller, and the game has completely changed. I still want to hear your thoughts, even if this is without a doubt the biggest hip-hop scandal in years. Do you think 50 Cent's targeting of T's family goes too far? Or is he simply revealing a long-kept secret? Which of those 20 rappers, in your opinion, is currently trembling in their boots? Use the comment section below to share your theories. The best ones will be my favorites, to be the first to know when the next name on that list appears. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. I appreciate you watching.